The school grounds were vast, but unlike Hogwarts' grounds, the sweeping lawns of Ilvermorny were enchanted to grow exotic forests of crazy colours with the perfect microclimate for harbouring magical creatures found nowhere else, including a colony of puckwudgies. Now in the daylight, the lake looked enchanted with sun rays dancing on the water. Gareth broke the silence, saying,
"This is brilliant. Such a magical place. No wonder they chose it to build a magical school here."
Agrius concurred.
I think it's a perfect place for a school. It's like a whole new world waiting to be discovered. The wizard-kind American dream.
Ominis differed from his friends in this matter.
A dream to some, a nightmare to me. I cannot wait for this bloody tournament to be over.
Time for a proper Ilvermorny welcome,
said Sebastian, shaking his head, as if their arse was about to be kicked. Suddenly, the Ilvermorny headmistress is standing on the balcony outside her office, looking relatively young and modern, using sonorous to amplify her voice, which put emphasis on her southern accent.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and everything in between, I give y'all the awesome, the super cool, the one and the only Triwizard tournament.
There's a loud cheer.
If you're from Hogwarts, give me a cheer!
There's an enthusiastic cheer from Agrius, Sebastian, and Gareth, whereas Ominis tried hard not to cry.
If you're from Ilvermorny, give me a cheer.
There's a loud cheer.
And if you're from Beaubaton, give me a cheer!
There's a slightly limp cheer.
Slightly less enthusiastic from the French there. And there they are, y'all. I present to you the reason why we're all here. The champions!
The champions were being asked to take a step forward. Ominis did it reluctantly, with a firm grip on the ancient tomahawk which was now replacing the wand he lost. He was hoping for the Great Spirit to help him navigate his surroundings. Carmela and Jean were standing on each side of him, radiating confidence and a hint of malice. Their wands were at the ready, but they were concealing a few enchanted muggle weapons under their clothes. Gareth, Agrius, and Sebastian were just a step behind Ominis, ready to come to his aid at his command. Carmela had the 3 youngest members of the Del Lobo gang wrapped around her little finger, and Jean had chosen 3 of the prettiest Vila to swoon over him. After a long pause, the headmistress continued.
And now, silence please, y'all. The first task. Capturing a piazza bird.
A bird? Is that it?
Said Sebastian, laughing in relief.
Not just a bird, Sebastian.
Said Ominis, with a sigh.
A fearsome man-eating monster who is said to terrorize Native American villages, carrying off victims.
The headmistress continued.
And guiding the champions in the swamp, Philip Carlier.
There were no cheers, since Mr. Carlier looked completely deranged.
Yay!
The headmistress seemed to be the only one who cheered, then proclaimed.
And with no time to lose, all 3 champions and their support teams will follow Mr. Carlier into the swamp.
The Ilvermorny school band shuffled onto the risers, while clutching their instruments like life rafts. The band played a cacophony of missed notes and mistimed entrances, while the students and professors adjusted their omni-oculars to get to see the champions and their support teams bravely entering the nearby swamp. Up ahead in the distance, they saw a shimmering light.
"Ain't much in the way of company out there,"
said Mr. Carlier, and added with a suppressed laugh.
"Or much that won't try and eat you, or put you on a pike."
Then he lit up a torch and he showed them the way into the depths of the swamp. The air hung thick with the stench of rot and damp, a miasma that clung to everyone's clothes as they trudged deeper. Ominis swatted at a mosquito. Gareth tried to cheer him up with a joke.
First kill of the day goes to the Hogwarts champion.
Agrius tried to lighten the atmosphere, saying,
Don't get too cocky simply because you had one victory over a mosquito.
Sebastian was the only one not laughing. Despite not being an expert in voodoo magic, He was able to identify signs of it in the dismembered bodies found hanging from trees. Walking beside him was Carmela, who also spotted the dead bodies. She slowly and carefully pulled out the machete strapped to her thigh and hacked at a tangle of vines with a single, brutal swing. Her movements precise and ruthless, making way for her support team to pass through. Trailing behind, Jean and his trio of Vila were knee-deep in murky water, becoming increasingly angry at the discomfort they were experiencing due to the environment they were in. The Vila appearance shifted as their faces sharpened and changed into beaked bird heads with long, scaly wings bursting from their shoulders. Jean, son of a Vila, did not inherit these powers, but knew that his Vila would be carrying him off if needed. Mr. Kalia cackled from the front, his torch swinging wildly. His beard was a nest of twigs and moss, and his eyes glinted with a feverish glee.
You'll see.
He rasped, hobbling over a root.
The swamp's got secrets, deep ones, older than time.
Gareth chuckled softly and said,
A jaunt through a festering bog is not how I wanted to spend my evening.
Mr. Kalia replied,
You want that Triwizard cup, don't you? Heh, it won't come easy.
His laughter echoed, swallowed by the croak of frogs and the rumbling growls of crocodiles. Mr. Kalia led them deeper, past gnarled cypresses and pools that shimmered with an unnatural sheen. The path grew narrower, the mud crawling up their bodies like a living thing.
Not far now.
Mr. Carlier crooned, like he couldn't wait to see the champions being eaten alive by the Piazza bird.
Is he not the dodgiest fucker you've ever met?
Said Carmela to Sebastian as they walked side by side. Sebastian chuckled and said,
Honestly, nothing he says sounds strange to me anymore.
Mr. Carlier parted the willows, revealing dry land and a cauldron hanging over a burning flame of campfire, and said,
If you just let me share this potion with the champions, it's a rite of passage. Yes, that's what it is.
Ominous. Carmela and Jean gathered around the cauldron and took a sip of the potion straight from the ladle. They began to cough and fell on the ground. Mr. Carley said mockingly,
Comes on rather strong the first time, does it not?
Gareth pushed through, took one good look at the contents of the cauldron and said in an accusatory tone,
This potion is hallucinogenic.
Mr. Collier burst out a wicked laugh and disappeared. Gareth said to Sebastian and Agrius,
We should fight potions with potions.
They all agreed and got to work. Gareth searched his satchel for ingredients that could act as trip killers. He found a few substances that may work and sent Sebastian and Agrius to fetch him mystical orchids. The three champions were curled up on the floor, going through a psychedelic trip that allowed them to see the Piazza bird, along with a number of wrongly sized animals, such as an owl with green laser beam eyes, a miniature horse, a gigantic pink rabbit, and a chubby chicken. Despite his blindness, Ominous was able to experience hallucinations stemming from spontaneous activity in the brain's visual centers, which made him feel a presence rather than to see colors and forms. While being in a trance, he managed to get up and, tomahawk on hand, walked over to the Piazza bird. There was a loud bang behind him, followed by the voice of Mr. Carlier shouting,
Until next time.
That is when the galleon dropped, and Ominous realized that Mr. Carlier couldn't hurt him because he wasn't real. So he needed to ignore him and capture the Piazza bird, or be captured by it. Ominous reached for his bow and arrows, knocked a sedative arrow, and drew his bow smoothly and stealthily, aiming slightly ahead at the body of the Piazza bird, accounting for distance and wind. He then released the arrow with a steady hand and tracked the bird immediately to pick it up. With a swift move, he slung the bird over his shoulder and then waited, hoping for his mates to have found a way to wake him up from his psychedelic trance. Meanwhile, Sebastian and Agrius gave Gareth the mystical orchids, and after crushing them into the cauldron, the trip killer concoction was ready. They all teamed up to feed Ominous a spoonful of the potion. Shortly after that, Ominous awoke from the trance, his mind slowly returning to clarity. Lying next to him was the sedated Piazza bird.
Gareth said, "You got the Piazza bird. Incredible!" Sebastian chuckled.
We're having fried Piazza bird drumsticks for dinner.
Agrius picked up the bird and trussed it for safe measure, while saying,
We must keep the bird alive. It's worth more this way.
Gareth and Sebastian flanked Ominous as he stumbled from the after effects of the potions he had. The entire school cheered loudly as Agrius handed out the sedated Piazza bird to Ilvermorny's Care of Magical Creatures professor, asking for it to be kept alive in a secluded vivarium. And when Ominous returned, flanked by Sebastian and Gareth, the crowd went wild. Ilvermorny's potions professor took on the task of administering antidotes to the Ilvermorny and Beaubaton champions.
I want all the judges over here now.
Said the Ilvermorny headmistress, who was standing at the front door of the school, flanked by the marble statues of Isolt and James. The judges were summoned and shared their scoring, the headmistress announced.
The first task of the Triwizard Cup needs awarding, and the points stand thus. Ilvermorny and Beaubaton's champions tied for second place with 0 points.
There was a murmur of disagreement amongst the crowd. Avila spoke.
Perhaps I could get a point for all the mad I had to swallow.
The scoring is not up for debate,
Said the headmistress and continued.
Hogwarts champion has been awarded as follows. For magical ability, 5 points for fighting without a wand. For intelligence, 10 points for realizing that Philip Carlier was only acting as a decoy. And for courage, 10 points for relying on the potioneer abilities and on the resourcefulness of the support team. Moreover, ethics must be taken into account. And I have a few last-minute points to award. To Mr. Sebastian Sallow, keeping up the spirit of wandering while being in the least desirable environment, 5 points. To Mr. Gareth Weasley, for the best trip killer concoction that Ilvermorny has seen these many years, 5 points. To Mr. Agrius Malfoy, for making sure that the bird wouldn't be sacrificed, showing both benevolence and an optimal use of natural resources for behavioral research, 5 points. And finally, it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to enemies you cannot see. The judges awarded 10 extra points to Ominous Gaunt, winner of the Triwizard Tournament's first task with a total of 50 points, which is the maximum score. Hip hip hooray for Hogwarts!
The crowd cheered as Ominous was carried over the shoulders of his support team, back to their assigned dorm room, where they would shower in the ensuite and dress up to go to the Moonshine Shack.